The funny thing is that we think that dopamine hits are pleasures that we get, but it's also sufferings that we get too. So anger is a dopamine hit, fear is a dopamine hit, sadness is a dopamine hit. And what I mean by that is that if you've endured a thing for so many times, it starts becoming a pleasure. So maybe you are chronically depressed, and without that depression, you're not getting the dopamine hit that you need. And then you start beginning to be more aware of yourself. That's why looking at the ego, there are gurus that talk about when you're in meditation, let the thoughts pass by like clouds. And there's something a little bit more intricate to that. What it is they're not just passing by like clouds, they're being noticed. The witness is noticing them. They notice you, the you of you is noticing it for what it is. And that's how you get unstuck. Because once you start to realize that the ego it's not separate. It's like a virus in the system, except for the fact that that virus can be molded into a program, and it can be made into something that's beneficial. The ego is not intrinsically wrong or bad, just like everything else. It's all gray areas. There's no black and white. There's just gray. So how you look at it, how you observe a thing changes the thing that you're observing. So watching your ego intensely, almost separate from it, because that's kind of what it feels like. If anybody that's watching has done meditation, you kind of realize after a bit that you are watching something that is you, that you don't necessarily align with anymore. That's what ego deaths are. They are these profound moments where you go, oh my God, I am not that thing. Then what the hell am I? Eckhart Tolle is a good example of that. He lived in this perpetual state of suffering and fear until one day he went, I just can't live with myself. And it clicked. Who is this that can't live with this other thing? So it's the moment of separation. And ego deaths can be huge, they can be profound. And if you keep going with them, you keep doing the hard work, looking at your shadows, looking at the problems that you've had and how little they mean, you start reacting differently. I'm sure you've had a friend or a spouse that just triggered you constantly. And then maybe you started doing meditations, maybe you had an ego death, and all of a sudden they don't trigger you as much as they used to. And then that energy starts to dissipate because you're not allowing it in anymore, because it's not who you are, it's not a part of you. And then that person, generally speaking, goes away. Most people that you have extreme karmic relations with, once that cord is severed, they just dissipate into the ether and they go find somebody else to get that dopamine hit from, to get that pleasure center to expand. It's like the old connotation of being bullied in school. And the moment you stand up to the bully, no matter what, the moment you stand up to them is the moment they either go away or they become your best friend. So that's what it is. And imagine yourself bullying yourself, and that's the ego. That's the ego run amok. That's the ego without restraint. So if you can identify that, look deeply within. Going within is as simple as just sitting here and staring off into the distance in a quiet atmosphere where you're not going to be bothered. You don't have to be in the material world, let's say. And it's sitting there, allowing thoughts to be what they are, accepting them for what they are, and disagreeing with them accordingly. Why am I feeling sad? Well, it's based on all of these different triggers that got you into that sadness. And then once you're aware of it, your eyes open, you go, oh, I'm not sad. Happiness isn't real. There's no such thing as happiness. We get little brief glimpses of joy here and there. You see your child walk for the first time. You fall in love. The day you get married. Things like that. Big, big joyful moments. Happiness is a state of mind. It's something that doesn't exist unless you conjure it into existence. And a lot of that has to do with alteration. Taking a thing and making it another thing. Seeing the beauty in places where you normally wouldn't have seen beauty. I am in this situation for my own good. It's bringing me out of my ego. I no longer have to react the way I used to react because that's not me anymore. It never was me. It was just a bunch of jumbled nonsense because I got hurt too many times, you know? Because we're not given that. Most of us are not given that in childhood. Like how to appropriately work through your feelings, your emotions, and situations that bring you down. So you have to do that on your own. And in order to do that on your own, you have to surrender to it. You have to just come to the point in life where you're just like, I don't want to be this anymore. I don't want to be a drug addict. I don't want to be a lazy lump on the couch watching, nonsensical sitcoms for the rest of my life. I want to live. And you do that by taking your phone, putting it in the microwave, setting it on high for about 5 minutes. That's an exaggeration, by the way. Don't do that. But it's knowing what has merit from time to time. If you're researching something, the internet's a great place to go. If you're looking for a type of advancement, man, you get on YouTube and you search out the gurus and the teachers that you align with the best. So technology is a gray area also. It can be used for whatever you decide to use it for. If you want it to be a dopamine hit and set on TikTok or Instagram for hours and hours and hours watching videos, and the next thing you know, man, it's 12 hours later and you've gotten nothing done. And you're no better off for it. I like cat videos just as much as everybody else does, but there's a point where you gotta set it aside, Live this experience as much as you can. Go into things that, because there's certain desires, man, that you're not going to get over until you do it. If you've always wanted to be that big bad rock star, try it. Win, lose, fail, succeed, it doesn't matter as long as you tried it and you saw it for whatever it was. It might be your path, it might not be your path. But you won't know unless you do it. Do things differently. Change. I mean, the heart of this, of awakening, of a spiritual renaissance within your own being, is to experience things in a way that you never experienced them before. Really dig in deeply, question yourself, and adapt to new perspectives. Whether it be psychological, whether it be spiritual, whether it be mathematical, whatever it is that turns you in on yourself, to question the validity of the thing that you've pretended to be most of your life, it's beneficial. You are not that. You are not that either. You are the thing that's witnessing that. You're the watcher. And there's so much beauty in that. there are times that we get into a flow state, and some people never see it. I mean, some people never push themselves to see how far they can go. But there's times that we get into a flow state and you go, who in the hell was that? I've never been able to, run a whole mile before, but the lungs will do what the lungs do. The legs will carry you forward. You don't have to think about it. You can just do it. Right? So I implore people to just go out there and do it. Don't get hard on yourself because you have desires or feelings or thoughts. Search them out. See which ones are correct. And you'll know. You'll just know. There's a certain knowing in the universe. There's things that just are truths, and they may be individual truths or they may be universal truths. And no matter what, they can become your truth. So, as always, much love.